A man once came in for what he called a simple checkup. He looked healthy, mid-40s, confident. When I asked about his diet, his eyes lit up. He told me he'd created the ultimate nutrition system. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, he ate only white foods: potatoes, white bread, mozzarella. On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, only brown foods: steak, chocolate, coffee. Sundays were his multicolor reset, where he ate Skittles and gummy bears to balance everything out. He was dead serious and said he was thinking of publishing a book. Another patient was convinced he was physically shrinking. Not emotionally, literally. He brought spreadsheets and handwritten charts, tracking his height day by day, all measured with an ancient, stretched-out tape measure. When I measured him properly, he was completely average. He stared at me and said, "So you're part of it too?" Then demanded to know who sent me, apparently the Tall People's Lobby. A young woman rushed into the ER with her boyfriend covered in hives, lips swollen, struggling to breathe. I asked what triggered it. The boyfriend immediately confessed. He said he wanted to propose, so he hid the ring in her peanut butter sandwich, then added, almost as an afterthought, that she was severely allergic to peanuts. He genuinely believed romance would overpower biology. During a night shift, a man burst in screaming that his wife was in labor in the car. I sprinted outside with a wheelchair, prepared for chaos. Instead, she was calmly sitting in the passenger seat, flipping through a magazine. I asked where the emergency was. The husband said, "The baby's due today, we're here." "Let's do this." I had to explain that a due date is not a calendar appointment. A patient once complained of constant ringing in his ears. Every test came back normal. I asked about noise exposure. He worked from home. After some thought, he mentioned his wife's new hobby, wind chimes. She had hung more than 50 of them on their tiny apartment balcony. He thought he had a brain tumor. He was actually living inside a percussion instrument. I had to reassure a woman that she could not get pregnant from her cat. She had been sharing a water glass with her unneutered male cat and was late on her period. An online forum had convinced her that cross-species conception was rare but spiritually possible. Her relief when I explained reality was immense. Mine was complicated. A man came in with intense abdominal pain. An X-ray revealed a full-sized glass bottle lodged in his rectum. When I asked how it happened, he calmly said it was a magic trick gone wrong. He claimed he was practicing for his nephew's birthday party and refused to explain further, citing professional integrity. A mother brought in her teenage son because only his left arm was darkly tanned. She feared a rare disease. The boy was a gamer who never left his room. The tan line was a perfect rectangle. Eventually, he admitted he'd spilled his mom's self-tanning lotion on his desk and rested his arm in it for weeks while playing because cleaning it seemed like too much effort. One patient was convinced sleep was a government mind control program. He hadn't slept in 4 days, surviving on energy drinks and anti-sleep meditations. He asked for medication to eliminate sleep permanently so he could be truly free. I admitted him for exhaustion and psychosis. A man came in with a deep hand laceration. I told him it needed stitches. He refused, saying his brother was a butcher and could just use meat glue. He even brought the bottle with him. He believed industrial cyanoacrylate was more natural than sutures. A woman dragged her husband into the ER with a fishing hook through his cheek. He was calm. She was furious. He had tried to invent a hands-free way to eat by attaching a hot dog to fishing line and casting it into his mouth from across the room. An aspiring bodybuilder arrived with kidney failure. He said he was consuming 30 grams of protein a day. When I said that was too little, he corrected me. Not protein powder, pure powdered protein from a chemical supplier. He'd essentially been feeding his kidneys gravel. Someone once asked if I could perform a brain transplant. Not for medical reasons, he was bored with his thoughts and wanted to try someone else's personality. He and a friend planned to swap brains temporarily and switch back if it didn't work out. I treated a man with a broken wrist after he fell off his roof installing a satellite dish. He refused to hire a professional. His method was rotating in a circle holding the dish while his wife yelled through the window when the TV signal improved. He fell on the third spin. A patient suffered severe chemical burns after attempting a homemade facial peel from a video online. The recipe listed lemon juice, sugar, and a secret ingredient. He decided the secret ingredient must be drain cleaner. His reasoning was flawless, apparently. One man believed the automatic paper towel dispensers in the hospital were draining his life force. He claimed the sensors were actually soul scanners. He would only use the restroom if a nurse handed him a towel manually. A woman came in convinced her husband was experiencing menopause. She cited hot flashes, mood swings, and crying during commercials. He actually had a serious thyroid condition, but she remained committed to the diagnosis of menopause. A man arrived with a screwdriver embedded in his foot. He'd been fixing his lawnmower while it was running because he didn't want to restart it. He assumed he'd be fast enough. He was not. Another patient believed his blood was too thick and began thinning it by drinking warm water mixed with paint thinner every morning. He came in concerned about a strange chemical taste. That was the least of his problems. One man had a potato stuck in his ear. He thought it was a Bluetooth earpiece because he'd seen someone else wearing a white object. He was disappointed it wouldn't play music. A young man with severe food poisoning proudly explained he was on a raw food diet and had eaten raw chicken. He believed humans should eat like lions. A patient insisted his emotional support hamster be listed as his emergency contact. He even had a laminated card with the hamster's photo. He said if he fell into a coma, the hamster's squeaking would wake him up. Another woman refused an X-ray because she feared it would make her skeleton visible to ghosts, increasing her chances of being haunted. A man came in with his finger stuck in a wedding ring he found on the street. After 2 days of butter, soap, and finally a hammer, he decided to seek medical help. One woman followed a breatharian diet, living on air and sunlight. She came in dizzy and told me calories were propaganda from the food industry. A man believed his left leg wasn't his own. He said it had a different energy and must have been switched at birth. He wanted surgery to retrieve his real leg. And finally, a patient diagnosed himself with Internet Explorer syndrome, slow thinking, freezing under pressure, and asked if there was medication to upgrade his brain to Google Chrome.